What is up, Team Starlight? Today we are here with the first installment of This Deck Cooks. This is going to be a series where we try to cook up something spicy at home and bring it to our locals and see if we can top with it. And you'll follow our tournament run. So for this episode, we have a deck that I created called FROGS. It's on the channel. It's actually one of our first videos that we posted, but didn't top that tournament. But you'll be able to see gameplay from another tournament today. And I got the deck profile here. So let's get into it. So we got 3 Substitute, of course, the best card in FROGS, 3 Swap Frog, 3 Dupe Frog, 2 Treeborn, 1 Unifrog, and 1 Death Frog. That's the frog package. And then we got, this is where the spice comes in, 3 Elemental Hero Ocean. This is kind of like a glue piece to the deck, and what I'm trying to do with like polymerization. It'll be easier to talk about once you see more of the deck. But it really is like kind of the glue of the whole deck. 2 Malicious and Stratos. So we run 6 heroes. And then we got 3 King of the Swamp. So this card is amazing in FROGS. It gets you to polymerization fast and fills up your grave with waters. It's just really consistent card when you max out on it. And then I've got 1 Fishborg Blaster. This is sort of like a alt win condition. The main win condition is to spam out Absolute Zero, but if you get into a late game grindy situation, having access to a Fishborg in your grave can be huge because it turns your ocean into, assuming you have Treeborn access, you can just summon the ocean, make a 5 or a 6 with Fishborg, which is really good. And then we run Gores. So that's it for the monsters. Okay, and then for the spells, we've got 3 Moray of Greed, one of my favorite cards in FROGS. It's just fun to draw cards. I don't know what to say. And then 3 Salvage, even better consistency card. It's a +1. It allows you to keep grinding and recycle cards like Unifrog if people mirror force it, things like that. 2 Pot of Avarice. Didn't want to max out on this because it also conflicts with Miracle Fusion, but it's a really good card. It's Pot of Greed if you have Substitute on the field, and it allows you to also recycle Absolute Zeros, which is pretty big deal when you're running as many fusion spells as I do. You can regularly use 3 or 4 or summon 3 or 4 Absolute Zeros over the course of a game. 1 Emergency Call and 1 Reinforcements of the Army. Just consistency cards to let you see your heroes, because the deck, if you don't see certain parts of your engine, then the deck's not really doing anything, so you just need to see Stratos more often this way. So these are kind of like your consistency engine, and then the payoffs are triple polymerization, triple Miracle Fusion, 1 Future Fusion, 1 for 1, and Heavy Storm. So these are all just insane bombs, and you get to the bombs via your engine, and you functionally run like 10 fusion spells, because the Kings of the Swamp, 3 Poly, 3 Miracle Fusion, and Future Fusion. So if you go a game without seeing Absolute Zero, like, I don't know what happened. It's gonna be really consistent that you're just spamming it out, summoning it into boards, trying to plus off of trading with Absolute Zero. And then, yeah, so I'll just jump right back to the ocean real quick before we get into the duels. The triple ocean is really just the connection between the whole engine. It's a water, it's a hero, so you know it's searchable through these. It's you can get it back with salvage, you can moray it because it's a brick, and it enables all your fusion spells to be as live as possible. And then it also just has the convenient effect of being able to recycle absolute zeros. Like, I don't know if people don't know, like, you can put back fusion monsters in your grave or on the field with his effect. So when you're running a deck that's goal is to just spam out absolute zero as many times as possible, it actually has like a pretty relevant effect. Like if you have a dupe block on the field and you just summon it and it allows you to recycle an absolute zero, that can really help your grind game later. Not to mention if you just have Ocean on the field with a zero, it's like a Raigeki. If they don't out it, you can just return your ab zero on field. All right, so also we got to show the side and extra. So extra deck, 3 absolute zero, of course. It's the whole point of the deck to summon it out. 1 elemental hero, Terra Firma. So for those of you who don't know what this does, you can make it with elemental hero Ocean and a King of the Swamp, because King of the Swamp serves as the other material. And its effect is you can tribute a hero on your field and it will gain the attack equal to the on-field attack of that hero. So this card is actually really relevant because obviously you max out on King of the Swamp, so you're gonna have access to them, and with cards like Salvage to get them back. And you can make this guy, and if you tribute a 0 on field, it'll Raigeki their board, and you get the attack equal to its on-field attack. So if I had, 2 other waters on the field, and this guy's at 3,500, then my Terra Firma will be at 6,000. So it's just huge for OTKs. It has come up for me plenty of times. And then quickly, just the synchros. It's kind of like a generic synchro package, just because we run the Fishborg. So nothing really to mention here, just kind of running generic monsters. And for the side deck that I ran at this tournament, I went for double Vanity's Fiend. It's frogs. I mean, you could always throw this into any frog side. Double Kaiku, it protects your Miracle Fusions, and it's good in the value matchup. You side down on deck dev targets, etc. This is not a new thing. DD Assailant, because I run the Rhoda, and I played MST and Double Dust Tornado, and 3 Raigeki Break, and Mirror Force, Karma Cut, and Deep Prison. My theory with this was just like, the deck basically loses to Floodgates, like Vanity's Fiend, Christia, Fossil Dyna. Not as much Fossil Dyna, but the other 2. So these are like flex outs where this can out, Floodgate spells or traps like Oppression or monsters. And then this is obviously for cards like Oppression, or just generic for cards like Black Wings. And then these are 3 monster outs. So kind of when you combine them together, you have like, it's like you have 6 monster outs and 6 spell and trap outs, depending on whatever you need. And then for the tournament that we're going to showcase, I forgot a 15th side card. So I was just running 14, but I think Book of Moon is like a valid entry. So yeah, if you want to test out something like that, that could be the 15th card. Again, just flipping down Floodgates. So yep, that's the deck. And now let's get into the replays. All right, so we are here at WildCardCyclone. We got me on the bottom playing my deck, Polyfrogs, and we got Dylan up top playing Machina Quick Draw. This is round 2, and we got the last 2 rounds. It was just a 3-round locals this time. So we got Albert here too. What's up, Albert?
Hey.
Okie doke. So he's gonna go first. Summon the Gear Frame Search Fortress set 2. It's my turn. I thin out the deck by 1 card, and this is where I'm curious what other folks might do when piloting this deck, but I have such a vivid fear of ever drawing the Malicious when I moray, once I've already, have the Malicious in hand. So I go for this kind of aggressive play here, where I just straight up go for the absolute 0 pretty fast, and then summon the Malicious, and I'm gonna attempt to moray and hopefully draw something good. This is like a pretty high risk play, but I'll tell you what I didn't want to do was just like summon or just like set the Duprog and pass, or because I know this deck runs Caius, so I was kind of scared. So I'm hoping to draw a Substitoad here, but I don't get it. So I'm just gonna run this 0 in. It's gonna trade 2 for 1 with the D Prison, which is kind of how I envisioned it going. But now Dylan's gonna go pitch, summon Fortress, sack for Caius, then special the Fortress back. But thankfully I didn't draw, although I didn't draw Substitoad, I did draw Gores, and he kind of doesn't play around it correctly here. He hits me with the 2500, so I'm able to actually attack over both of his monsters, and then set a Dupe Frog.
Yeah, I think that was a solid play. You want to apply pressure quickly when you're playing against this deck because they can just go all out with the Machina pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. And he actually top decked that gear frame. I remember this. He was like, oh, right off the top. So he's able to like crash the Fortress, blow up my Dupe Frog, and then attack me directly. But the good news is I top deck 1 for 1. So we kind of go tit for tat in terms of really good top decks here. This is a missequencing here. Like if he had Torrential, I would get hard punished because like I should have summoned the Swap Frog first and used the effect. But I do it backwards here. So like if I got Torrential, or even if he had something like a Book of Moon to book the Swap Frog, Substitoad, I would have gotten punished because I can't use priority. But thankfully he doesn't have any of that. So I'm gonna go start thinning out the deck. And I think, yeah, I go for Death Frog here, and he has the Bottomless. My plan was to go for Death Frog, Unifrog, because I didn't want to leave him with a gear frame on board, because I know he runs Caius, but it gets Bottomless, so I'm forced to go for a soft block here. Okay, he's going to set a back row. We're in a pretty low resource game state now, but frogs love this because I get the +1 off the Treeborn Frog, which gets converted into a Unifrog. And yep, he doesn't have a stop for this. So I'm able to pop that Call the Haunted, but I can't get rid of this gear frame. But looks like he doesn't have anything. So my turn. I draw E-Call, which is really good because it gets me to Stratos. Stratos is a +1 that gets me to Ocean. And the card I had drawn the previous turn was Polymerization. So yeah, Polymerization is cool in this deck because the Treeborn is free, and in this case the Ocean was free. They were both +1s, so it's really just like a 1-card absolute 0 here with Polymerization in like a card economy standpoint.
Yeah, the card advantage just flips so fast.
So I'm gonna hit in with this massive 0. And I think for a second if I want to play around Gores, but I don't respect it at all because I have 0 on the field anyways. So I just hit in. And yeah, this game is swung around pretty fast. He is down kind of bad. I think he only has like 3 cards in hand. He just sets a monster. I top deck King of the Swamp, the goat of the deck. So I'm able to just get to Polymerization. And now it's just kind of like however you want to convert this. But I go for bouncing the Stratos to hand first before doing my Polymerization. And I'm able to, get rid of his set monster without attacking it and then hit in for game. So that's game 1.
Yeah, that was a solid play. Very clean.
Now we're in game 2. He T-sets, passes. I draw a Moray, so I'm going to shuffle back half my hand. 2 cards. And draw 3. The downside about playing Moray, it is so live in this deck. It's more waters than I've played in any other kind of deck, but drawing multiples is never good. That's why triple Moray is kind of awkward. But I drew 2 and I'm able to activate them both, but I draw into the third moray. And looking back at this, I think you could argue I should have just summoned the Stratos, gotten Ocean, and then morayed again, you know, just to do it. But I opt to go for Swap Frog, send Treeborn, and set Raigeki Break. So he's going to go charge the Light Brigade, mill 3 monsters, which is never good when you're playing against an Avarice deck. He summons the Lila and he attacks, so I'm kind of bummed here that he didn't just try to pop this. So it was a good play from him. And now he's going to try to pop it in main phase 2 and pitch the moray. So yeah, could have. I don't really know what the right play here was, because I didn't want to pitch the Swap Frog and then have just like a dead moray in my hand. So yeah, that's why I pitched the moray. But I drew into another water, so it would have been live. And here I'm kind of feeling like the game is slipping away a little bit just because I got a somewhat slow opening. So I go for Stratos first, add the Ocean, and I think I get aggressive here and I pitch the Ocean to summon the swap, and I want to get over both of these monsters to clear the way for like a 0 play, but I play right into Mirror Force, so I just get hard punished. Yeah. But then I go to summon the Absolute Zero because I don't want to get hit for a ton of damage if he just has Fortress or something. But yeah, I think probably too aggressive there. Probably was still in the game if I just kind of played it a little slower. So we're going to get a think from Dylan here. And, oh yeah, my back row is a deep prison, by the way, if you didn't see it. But I'm definitely down bad here, because you can't see how many cards are in his hand, but I'm pretty sure he had like a full hand. So he's going to go for Plague Spreader, and Lila will make Brionic. And let's see what he does here. That gives him enough monsters to activate Avarice, so even more plussing going on at my expense. And then he's going to pitch Fortress to bounce my 0, but he gets 2 tokens because he had a Dandelion set that gets blown up. Here I top deck King of the Swamp. And I think I opt to just use it because I don't want to draw Polymerization, so I just go for it because I just want to thin out my deck, draw better cards in the future. He's going to go for the Debris Dragon on his turn and Synchro for 8, make a Stardust, get 2 more tokens. But I have the D-Prison, so I felt like this game I could potentially come back. And I go for a think here because I'm thinking, do I want to summon a Treeborn and attack and start going for more of, or start killing these tokens? And in retrospect, I don't know if this is even worth it, regardless of whatever he has in his back row. But I choose to go for it. And he has the Chain Disappearance, which is a bang card in this situation because I'm reading it here and it makes it so it banishes your Treeborns from your hand or deck. So I happen to have the second Treeborn in my hand, so it just hurts extra hard there. So I just have to pass now, and this one feels like it's slipping away. forced to just set a Raigeki break as he's hitting me in with the Sangan. Let's see, he has access to Plague, so he goes for it. Top decks. I think for a second here, because I got the Raigeki breakdown, but I just let it go. He's going to synchro for 6, making a Goyo Guardian, get the search off the Sangan. Search is quick draw. He's gonna hit in with the Goyo. I think about popping this here, but I'm down so much in cards that my goal is to summon a 0 and have that be the way to clear this Goyo rather than wasting 2 cards basically with Raigeki Break to out it. And it's in full-on desperation mode, so I top deck MST, I use it, then I Raigeki Break the other back row, and then I activate Miracle. But you can see that I'm out of cards here, so, and I don't have access to Treeborn Frog, which if I did, I would be able to actually get over the Goyo, you know, but I don't.
I think this is correct. Now you're forcing him to deal with the Ab-Zero. You outed his back row, so now he has less resources to out it. And if he does out it, he's going to lose his Goyo.
Wow, so he tributes the Goyo here to go for quick draw, and then he hits me for 1200. And then he... so he's actually out of cards in hand, so this is really interesting from him because it's gonna take him 3 hits to kill me with that quick draw, or drill warrior I should say. And here, looking back at this, what I should have done was I should have brought out Swap Frog and gone Des Frog, Absolute Zero in. It's a 2-turn clock, all the same, but then I can bounce the Swap Frog to my hand. But here he just goes for like, he goes for Debris Dragon off of the Drill Warrior, and I see the writing on the wall that he can just make a 7, attack over my guy, and then hit me directly with the other one, so I just scoop it up.
You did put him in an awkward position, though. He had no cards in hand, and he had to tribute his Goyo, which is a little... I don't know if I would have done that, but it ended up working out for him, so I guess that was the right play.
Yeah, so now we're on to game 3, and I summon Stratos, search Mali because I have a discard trap in hand, but I don't set it because Karma Cut's one of those cards that if you're going first and you set it, it's like really awkward because like a lot of times it'll just get Raiko'd. I don't want that to happen, so I don't set it, and I still don't set it because I usually like to save it for when they actually have a monster on board that I want to out, so I can chain it to if they try to use back row removal or something. But he's gonna get it. I set the MST, and he's gonna get aggressive here. Summon the Caius, but I chain the MST to the attack declaration, and it lets me drop this huge Gores on him. And let's see. So I draw into... I think I had Vanity's Fiend, but I'm just gonna hit over both of his monsters. And I thought for a second if I should just summon this Vanity's Fiend, but... I think the reason I didn't was because this token is like a legitimate problem. It's a 2400 beat stick, so I didn't want to to just like get rid of it, you know. And but that does let him go for Debris Dragon here. But I have the out because I'm able to Karma Cut, pitching the Malicious I searched earlier. But then he is able to summon the Fortress here and get over the token. So here I top deck Substitoad, which is just an insane top deck. Like, it's not... Substitoad, obviously the best card in the deck. So I'm gonna go for the Mali. And... thinking for a second on how I'm gonna sequence this, but all roads lead to Substitoad. and he doesn't have a stop here, so I'm gonna be able to do classic frog things. Okay, yep, so I've thinned out all the subs, toads, all the treeborn frogs. And here I go for the Miracle Fusion. This is a really good play in Hero Frogs in general, but I go for the Miracle, and then I tribute the 0 to out his board before then going for Unifrog and a full dupe block. And I get to clear that Solemn Judgment. I think you could argue that he should have solemned my Miracle, because that Miracle obviously is going to go way too hard with Substitoad on the field. But he didn't know that I also had the second one, so it wouldn't have mattered in this case.
He probably felt a little safe with the Machina on board. Machina Fortress.
Yeah, so here I opt to just go in for damage. You could argue that this was a misplay to attack with the Gores, but I didn't want to summon this Vanities into back row, so I just didn't. And now I summon it in main phase 2, and that's going to be it. He just scoops it up. Okie dokie, so we are back here. This is actually the finals. It's me versus Brady. I roll 12. Easy game, so I get to go first. And I draw a double Moray of Greed. So, and by the way, Brady is like, he was newer to playing against frogs at this point. So there are gonna be a few places where I'm explaining cards to him. That's why I take a decent amount of time on some of my turns. But I draw Stratos, so I'm able to Stratos, search Ocean, which makes the Moray live, and then I use the second Moray, so getting to draw cards. And yeah, let's see, I draw Substitoad. Always good to draw Substitoad. Here, I already have double poly in hand, so like I have no use for this King of the Swamp, so I just choose to pitch it to special the Swap Frog. Which, gets the Treeborn engine live, and it allows me to bounce the Stratos here. So I'm going to be able to, get the +1 off the Stratos next turn too. So let's see what Brady's got. I forgot to mention he's playing X-Sabers. So he's going to go Rhoda for full Helm Knight. But he's not going to summon that full Helm Knight. He's going to set a monster and set 2 back row, pass it back. I top deck into Fishboard Blaster, which is not the best here. I was going to send it off of Future Fusion. But it's okay. Like, Fishborg's never that bad to draw. It's just nice to have it in deck when you happen to have Future Fusion in hand. And so here's the fun part of this deck, where I just pretend like all his back rows are fake and just activate Future Fusion, because I'm not going to do nothing, and I just decide to go for it. And he's thinking he might have a response here. That's why I haven't started sending the materials, but he finally lets it go, so I'm able to send Mally. And yeah, I think I just send King of the Swamp because, like I said, I have 2 polys in hand, and my ideal target is also in hand, so I just don't want to draw any more functional copies of Polymerization. So next I go for the Mally effect, summon it from deck, and he better have a stop, or else I'm about to go ham, because I summon the Substitoad, priority pitching the Treeborn, and I think he just lets it go. So here into 2 back row, I opt not to use Swap's effect because I just have so much to lose if I swap and he just torrentials my whole field. So instead I just go for Dupe Frog, Or I just sent a swap frog, then go for dupe frog, then go for unifrog. And then I'm gonna bounce the swap frog. And let's see what I do here. I pitch to special the swap frog, but I don't think I use the effect here. I think I declared Subsitode's effect. Yeah. Still playing around torrential. So I just go for a full dupe lock. And it looks like I'm gonna pitch special Fishborg just to go for a swap frog here, get that out of my deck. I hit in direct, so I get a pop a back row. And then main phase 2, I'm gonna bounce the swap frog to my hand. You could argue the swap frog thing wasn't necessary, but I knew I wasn't gonna make use of both of those polys, and so I just opted to thin out my deck. And I didn't want to summon like a Death Frog to kill that monster, because more likely than not, it's gonna be Ember's Blade, and I'm just gonna be helping him out.
Yeah, if I would have set that got him Zeke off, I was Brady, wasn't even live. You risk losing it.
Yeah, so it turns out I was right not to attack what was a giant rat, but he does have the full Helm Knight, so he's gonna just Black Rose my field, but I'm explaining to him that the dupes, I get, both searches off of them, so I'm gonna search the Unifrog, and then I'll also search the Death Frog from my deck, which is something that I like to do if you don't have access to Subsitode, but you do have access to Fishborg. It's like nice to have the Death Frog in hand, because you can just make synchro plays with it. So, okay, so here's a moment where I think I decided to just be really bad. If you guys want, like, pause the video and try to figure out how I can go for game here. And I thought I saw a way to go for game. So I'm gonna, like, do something big here, I think. I start off with summoning the Fishborg, and as I'm like starting the play, I start to realize I think I can only do something like 7,400 damage, or something around 7,000 or more, but not 76. So I'm just taking a long time here because I'm doing mental math, and then realizing that I just decided to be really bad and bring back this Fishborg. But then I realized that it's not game, so I just don't even go for a synchro play. I just go for Stratos into absolute zero. So why I say this is bad is it was just kind of unnecessary to bring back this Fishborg here if you weren't going to go for game. I think I messed up the life here, but we're going to get it fixed. I know he was at 76 before I attack in with both. Okay, so I pass it back over to him, and he's gonna set 2 back row and pass, so I'm in a pretty good position here.
Yeah, most of the time X-Saber's back row is in Rio, so if one of those is in Mirror Force, he's pretty cooked.
Yeah, he hasn't used Mirror or Torrential, so I opt not to bring back the Treeborn, but I do play right into the Mirror Force. So here's another moment where I decided to just be really bad. I think I set the Subsitode, pass, and then I'm looking at my grave, and I'm realizing that I actually... Okay, wait, but he just set the background passes, so thankfully he doesn't have anything. But here's when I look at my grave and see, oh, I have more like frogs in my deck to make use of this Substitoad. So I could have just done this last turn, but I go for it here, where I bring out my last dupe frog. I think this might be the last frog in my deck. But let's see what I do here. I have Fishborg access. You know, I have plenty of gas on the field to make use of. Okay, so looks like I'm gonna tribute summon the Death Frog. And then I'm gonna activate the effect of Fishborg, pitching the Swap Frog in my hand. And then I'm gonna go for Stardust, because he is at 2800. So I go for this because I want to just Miracle and go for game with the Destruction Protection, and he scoops it up. So now we're in game 2, and he's gonna go first, and he's gonna go Gold Zark for Faltrel, which is always scary. I don't want to let this go to 2 turns and let him get access to that. So let's see what I do here. I go for the King of the Swamp, search Polymerization before activating my Moray. Just thinning out the deck a little bit first. And let's see, I get Dupe Frog, Miracle, and Salvage. So Salvage really salvages this all frog hand, if you will, because I don't have any heroes, so the fusion spells are dead. And I would have to do like a really slow play, like, you know, just summoning the Swap Frog if I didn't draw the Salvage. But because I draw the Salvage, I get to go for the combo everybody knows, which is pitch special swap. Oh wait, what do I do here? Oh, it's because I have the Substitoad in hand, so never mind. I kind of jumped the gun there. I forgot I had Substitoad in hand. So yeah, I just pitch special swap, then summon the Substitoad in my hand. And here's where I think I explained to him how priority kind of works. Like anytime my monsters hit the field off of Substitoad, I get to call priority to tribute them off instantly before he can respond. So he gets to Book of Moon, and because I had already called priority and tributed the monster, now Substitoad's effect resolves. And so I think right here I'm explaining to him like a natural interruption point is when people activate Swap Frog's effect, because at that point you've passed, or you can't use priority because you're using the on summon effect of Swap Frog, and then they can chain book to that. But because he kind of chained it to the Treeborn Frog tribute, I get to bring out a Dupe Frog now. So I pass it back to him, and he's got to find a way to out the Dupe Frog now, which, you know, forces him to attack that, and also out the Substitoad, because if it gets back to me and the Substitoad's still in my possession, then the book didn't really accomplish anything. So he's gonna summon Ember's Blade, and here he's asking to read Dupe Frog, so I have the translation.
Yeah, X-Sabers don't have, unless he plays that one with the sword, he can't really get over this. So maybe he goes into Brio, bounces both, but
yeah, that looks like exactly what he did. He goes into Brio, attacks over the Dupe, but yeah, like bouncing this Substitute to my hand again just doesn't really accomplish much. So he isn't able to out it. And like I said before, like anytime that happens, it's just not gonna be good news for him. And I draw E-Call here, which is the perfect top deck because it gets me Stratos, gets me the +1, and I have, these fusion spells in my hand that were dead before, but now are so live. Mali is amazing in this deck with Polymerization. So I'm going to flip Substitute, call priority, tribute the Treeborn Frog, but he Fiendish Chains. And here I'm explaining to him that because Substitute's not once per turn and I can tribute for cost, and it resolves in the graveyard, I'm able to still just tribute the sub and get its effect. And then I go for Swap Frog's effect to bounce the Stratos so I can get that recurring +1. And then I activate Polymerization with the Mali in my hand and the Swap Frog on field to get over the Brionic. So on his turn, he got the Fall Troll to his hand, but he obviously needs setup to even summon it. So let's see what he goes for here. And here I'm explaining to him that if you book Absolute Zero and then are able to like remove it from the field in a non-battle way, that's one clean way to out it. But in general, X-Sabers, like I know you play X-Sabers, Albert, they just don't have a lot of good ways to out Absolute Zero.
No, not really. And one of them is gone in Brio. So yeah, there's not a lot he can do without losing his board or using all his cards.
So yeah, we're getting a big thing from Brady here, which is understandable. I think he has like 4 or 5 cards in hand, and I have, the same amount, or if not more, total cards. And he has to out this Sub-Zero, or it's gonna just keep slamming into him. So he does have the cat to pair with the Fall Troll. And he is going to think about it, but of course he's going to summon the Fall Troll, special, bring back Airbellum, go into Gothams, and rip 2 cards. So I actually think all things considered, this was a pretty good play. He's able to trade, 1 for 1 with the 0 and then rip 2 cards out of my hand. But the thing about this deck is I just have so much gas. Obviously, I'm getting the Treeborn, free +1. I activate Salvage, another +1. And I also have the Stratos that I bounced back to my hand last turn, which is a +1. So even though I only had 2 cards, it was just like too many bombs in my hand. And obviously, I didn't even mention the Miracle Fusion, which is my last card. But I opt to, I think, summon the Unifrog here because I don't want to, I want to play around that back row first. But it is fake. It's a Gotham's E-Call. And here we're in a really good position because he top decks Gold Sark and just activates it. And so here I kind of know we're just in a good spot. Because that card is not going to actually get to him for a while. So I go for Substitute, get out Swap Frog, and bring out Frog. And here I just start slamming cards because I just am under the assumption that this is game. And I think right here I'm doing the math. I'm like, wait, I'm short. I think. Let's see. Yeah, I'm short by 100. So I'm not really that worried because, like, look at my field, right? He sets 2, I end phase Raigeki break, and that's gonna be GG's. Alright, so that was the first episode of This Deck Cooks. If you guys liked it, please let us know in the comments if you prefer this style of video. We obviously won't be doing it, you know, every week because we don't have good ideas that often with decks, but this is something that we can try to do more regularly if you guys like this content. So yeah, if you liked it, like the video and drop a comment below.